In other news, the United States sided with Russia twice at the United Nations as they sought to avoid any condemnation of Moscow's invasion for its neighbor 3 years ago. Washington and Russia aligned first at a morning vote at the General Assembly and again at an afternoon vote of the Security Council. The two votes highlighted a seismic shift in the balance of power as earlier Washington was rather steadfastly voted for resolutions that favored Ukraine and condemned Russia back then. In its 11th emergency special session on the situation in Ukraine, the United Nations General Assembly passed two resolutions, first proposed by Ukraine and the second by the United States. Now, in the 193-member General Assembly, the resolution drafted by Ukraine and supported by many European countries received 93 votes in favor, 18 votes against and 65 abstentions. India, along with China, abstained from this vote, while US, Russia, Belarus and North Korea were among the countries that voted against it. Now, the three-page resolution strongly criticized Russia and emphasized Ukraine's territorial integrity of its borders. But it did not mention Russia's, and after that, Washington drafted a rival resolution, but it did not mention Russia's aggression or condemn the invasion. Washington ultimately did not vote in favor of its own text. The US draft resolution received 93 votes in favor, 8 votes against, and 73 abstentions. However, Ukraine's European allies pushed to heavily reword the US text to say that the full-scale invasion of Ukraine had been carried out by Russia. And like I mentioned, Washington did not vote in favor of its own text. There were 93 votes in favor, 8 votes against, and 73 abstentions, including India, China, US, and Ukraine. However, undeterred, the United States brought this earlier unchanged text to a vote at the 15-member UNSC in the afternoon, securing its passage with 10 votes for and none against, alongside 5 abstentions. The abstentions at the UNSC, they were by France, Britain, Denmark, Greece, and Slovenia.
The United States sincerely appreciates Council members' support for this resolution and applauds the action, the first this Council has taken in 3 years on Ukraine, to firmly call for an end to the conflict. This resolution puts us on the path to peace. It is a first step, but a crucial one of which we should all be proud.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has called his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky a toxic figure. In a televised interview, he said that the current head of the Kiev regime is becoming a toxic figure.
The current head of the Kiev regime is becoming a toxic figure for the armed forces of Ukraine because he gives ridiculous orders dictated not by military considerations but by political considerations. At the same time, it is not clear on what they are based. This leads to unjustifiably large losses, if not very large or catastrophic losses for the Ukrainian army.
The Russian president also said that he is ready for US investment in strategic minerals in occupied Ukraine. He even offered the US the opportunity for joint exploration of Russia's rare earth mineral deposits, outlining a future economic deal between the two countries.
We would be ready to offer our American partners, when I say partners, I mean not only governmental and administrative structures, but also private companies, an opportunity for joint work if they showed interest. We undoubtedly have significantly more resources of this kind than Ukraine.
In this interview, Putin also backed a suggestion by US counterpart Donald Trump for Russia, US and China to cut all their defense budgets in half.
We could come to an agreement with the United States, we don't mind. I think it's a good idea. The United States would have cut by 50%, and we would have cut by 50%. Well, the People's Republic of China would join later if it wanted to. We believe that the proposal is good, and we are ready for discussions on this matter.
And for more on this, our correspondent Anas Malik has sent us this report from Kiev.
The Ukrainian side has seen and noted the development of the United States siding with the Russian position at the United Nations General Assembly and the United Nations Security Council last night, and they believe that this is a continuation of the paradigm shift that they have witnessed in the US policy towards Ukraine. Now, it is pertinent to mention the fact that the Ukrainian side also believes that this is also a continuation of the arm twisting, or the usual arm twisting that the US is doing, which the US believes that they can force through which the US can force Ukraine into a deal, a ceasefire agreement, and a minerals deal as well. Now, with regards to that minerals deal, we're expecting that to be signed as early as next week at the White House. The contours of that remain shrouded in mystery as we speak, but largely the Ukrainian side believes that any deal that has to come through has to come with the rider of having a security guarantee going forward for Ukraine and the people of Ukraine. Anas Malik in Kyiv, in Ukraine, for WION, World is One.